Hey guys, I'm Pixel Dan, and this is a review of the Batman Legacy Arkham City 2-pack, featuring Batman and Two-Face. Being a big fan of Arkham Asylum, and anxiously awaiting the arrival of Arkham City, this pack was a must-have for me. It also doesn't hurt that I'm a huge Two-Face fan, and will always look for an excuse to add another Harvey Dent figure to my collection. Batman and Two-Face come packaged in the new Batman Legacy style packaging, depicting some artwork to let you know that these characters are based on the upcoming Arkham City video game. The back of that box gives us some really cool photos and artwork of these two characters in an Arkham City setting. Let's start out with Batman here. He does a pretty good job of capturing the look of the costume from the video game. You'll notice that his suit has a more textured look to it to mimic the detailing from the actual game. The ears on the cowl are much longer than the typical Batman figure, and the eyes have actual pupils rather than being whited out. The forearms and shins appear to be padded and feature some straps for even more detailing. The cape is also quite nice, and it sort of billows out a little bit, looking a little wider and more flowing than we typically see on these action figures. The articulation is on par with what we typically see in DC Universe classics, with movement in the head, ball-jointed shoulders, biceps, elbows, wrists, ab crunch, waist, thighs, knees, and ankles. The cape is also made of a softer plastic, so it doesn't really hinder the movement all that much, and you can really get some pretty good poses out of the Cape Crusader here. Now, both of Batman's hands are closed fists, and the figure does not include any accessories. I think that's my only real complaint here, because it seems to me like it would have been so easy to at least include some small batarangs, especially since those were used so frequently in the video game. Now let's check out Mr. Dent. This figure is based on his appearance in the upcoming video game, which actually has a bit of a feel of the Two-Face from The Dark Knight. The left side of his body is all scarred up. He has no hair on that side of his head, and that half of his suit also appears all burned and charred. The details on this figure are actually really nice. He's very grotesque on his burned half, and very normal citizen looking on the other. I love the way the suit looks as well, especially how his shoes are completely opposite with their colors. All of that is really nice touches to add. Two-Face includes a coin sculpted into his right hand. I both like and dislike this. I love that he has his coin, of course, because that is what makes Two-Face Two-Face. And I understand that sculpting something this small into his hand will of course keep it from being easily lost. But that really limits your display options with him, because he'll always have this coin and look like he's ready to flip it. On top of that, he doesn't include any accessories, which I think is a real shame. Two-Face should at least have a handgun. I'll never understand why Mattel constantly refuses to give Two-Face a gun in most versions of the figure that they've released. Now here's something else interesting about this figure. His articulation is very lacking. For some reason, Mattel opted not to give him ball-jointed shoulders, and instead went with the basic up and down movement for his arms. I'm guessing maybe so that the suit jacket might look better? But he also lacks articulation in several other places, most notably anywhere in his torso or in his lower legs. In fact, past the knees there's no joints. His feet do not articulate, not even a twist. They're all one solid piece with his lower legs. So this, of course, limits the poses you can achieve with Harvey. So while this set is not without its disappointments, most notably the poor articulation on Two-Face and the lack of any accessories, I gotta say, I do still really like it. I think the look of both figures is really good, and it's a great little piece of that game that you can display up on your toy shelf. So if you're a fan of that game series, then I would still give this one a recommendation. Until next time.
Thank you.